Bet on Aces. Ace Country.
Dispatch report of a structure fire. While we were responding, we received notifications that the fire was well developed on the back side of the house. It was extending to closely placed vehicles. Upon arrival, we found the report as dictated. Heavy fire in the back, heavy smoke throughout, extending to nearby vehicles, as well as an abundance of personal property stored at the rear of the house.
Was there a delayed notification in this?
You know, there was people who were within 50 to 70 feet of the structure at the time that the fire started. However, it's been indicated that they didn't notice that there was a fire. So we believe there was a delay. We're uncertain as to the amount of time that delay was in effect.
Firefighters were on scene well into the evening last night. Was there an excessive amount of belongings inside? Why was the fire so hot?
First of all, it was a dry day, hot day, windswept. There was an overabundance of personal property surrounding the structure, as well as the materials stored in a fashion that would allow that fire to go both underneath the structure and quickly spread into the attic space. The attic space has cellulose insulation, which retains that heat, adds a lot of difficulty for us in suppression. As you saw yesterday, that there was pockets of fire always developing, and that's in that cellulose insulation.
It also jumped the street, didn't it?
It did. At one moment, or a brief moment in time, it actually leapt over due to the winds. Nearby ground cover, easily taken care of.
You asked for some mutual aid.
We did. We had an engine company for mutual aid. And one of the reasons for that is because of the conditions. Again, we wanted to make sure that if there was any exposure issues, that we had an additional engine that we could deploy.
Tell me a little bit more about the fire, because it destroyed this home completely. What else was destroyed?
Well, when you talk about the house in totality, the structure is still standing. However, it has significant damage to that back side, which was the way it was at the time we got the report. So the crews pretty much held the fire in check for the most part. That attic was the big challenge, because every time crews would get in there, they commenced what was called a modified interior attack. So they quickly knocked down the fire at the backside, and they commenced an interior attack through the front door. However, when they got in there, ceilings and floors were collapsing, so we had to pull them out, which then meant we had to go to a defensive attack, which is a less effective way of doing it. But for safety reasons, there was no other way to do it.
This was a rental property?
No, it was actually owned by the occupants that were there. However, they were trying to create a multi-occupancy structure out of the double wide.
Tell me what that means.
So it was being occupied by two separate families by a dividing wall running within the structure.
And that was an issue, wasn't it? Because they have the electricity hooked up differently. That might have been the issue in this fire?
Well, we're looking into all aspects of what the cause may be, but clearly there was electrical issues that were, we observed from the very beginning of the incident.
There was an arrest on scene?
Yes, there was. I guess one of the occupants in the structure may have had outstanding warrants. The sheriff's office recognized that fact, and after the interviews were completed and the scene was stabilized, and they then effected arrest.